bit, maybe something's come up for them. Perhaps you need to establish some more rapport again. So you might work on establishing rapport. Whatever's needed at that time, you work with the situation at hand. So it's crucial that you have flexibility in here, which gives you the ability to deal with whatever comes up. So now I'm going to go into some more detail on how to go through each of those steps so that you know exactly how to run through that process. Obviously there's going to be more learning for you as you go along, as you use the system. Just know that whatever happens when you go out and you use the system and you do life coaching, there is something for you to know, which is really, really important for you to know. Whatever problem is presented to you, if any client comes to you with a situation or a challenge or a problem, whatever problem is presented to you, you have the ability to solve that problem. All you need to do is trust in yourself. If someone comes to you with a problem, whether you work with the client or whatever happens, so long as you trust in your own inner power, you can solve that problem. So, and the reason why I say that is because you might go out there and think, okay, well, maybe, I need to learn all these steps, I need to learn all these language techniques. All you need is a power that you have within. You might go out and you might see a friend asks you for some advice, and perhaps you just go into your power and just say whatever your power would have you say. That is all that is needed. These are rough guidelines. So long as you go out and trust in yourself, you can solve any problem that is presented to you, and it might not be solved straight away, but you can say what's needed to be said to help that person to then go away and solve that problem, or in that moment solve that problem. So step number 1, establishing rapport. Some of the ways that we can do this, one of the ways that we can do this is what's called match and mirror. Matching and mirror, if you've never heard that before, what that means is basically if someone's sitting down next to you and you're doing a coaching session with them, then what can help is if you actually match or mirror their physiology. Not only their physiology, you can match their words, you can match and mirror the tonality that that person has. So let's say someone comes to you and they sit down in a really a very straight posture. You might model or match that posture in order to develop rapport. If they're leaning on their hand, you might lean on your finger or something similar in order to match and mirror. Know that if you make it obvious, so it looks like you're trying to copy this person, then they might catch on and then they may lose trust. They may lose rapport. But if you just do it subtly and just trust in your own intuition, trust in your own inner guidance, and just don't do it as a conscious thing. Just do it as an unconscious thing. Just allow yourself to go into whatever position is comfortable and natural for you, where you know that this is a position which is comfortable for this client because you're matching and mirroring in some way. If someone's leaning on their left arm, for example, you could be leaning on their right arm. If someone scratches their chin, you might wipe your eye. Something that matches or mirror their physiology, their tonality, some of the words that they use maybe. Anything that you're seeing from this client, you can match and mirror to build that rapport. The other thing that you can do to establish rapport is to be present to the moment. So, instead of thinking about the laundry that needs to be done or thinking about some problems that you might have in your own life, instead of thinking about, just let it all go and be fully present to this client, what they are telling you, what are they saying, what's going on for them, being fully present and aware of intuition and love that you have within. The reason why that's important is because if you're aware of love that you have within, maybe if you think about, hold your attention on your heart or have any sort of symbol that represents love to you, when you are associating with love and being aware and present, in that moment, then you will do and you will say and you will act what is loving towards that client. You're also connecting with that client in the connection of love. And we'll go into that a little bit later on. But when you connect with the feelings of love, you can connect with that client and you will see how that can instantly establish rapport. Another thing is to be open. What that means is if you're open and just surrendering to your own guidance, your own intuition, the more open you are, the more trusting you are of your own power to guide you to know what to say and to know what to do. And the other thing obviously is to listen. to listen to your clients so you know what's going on for them, pick up some of the keywords. You'll hear and you'll know what are the most important areas to work on just by trusting in yourself and listening. And by listening to that client, then you're showing them that you really do care about what they have to tell you or share with you. So that's step one. Step two is to find out what's most important to change for the client. And we do that through questions. So if a client comes to you and they're not fully aware of what needs to be changed, then you can work with them to find that out. So what you could say, you could ask a question like, what's most important for you to work on today? Or what brings you to life coaching? You can develop your own questions. I have a set of questions that I normally ask. It's not terribly difficult if someone comes to you for life coaching to work out what it is they really want to change, unless perhaps someone has sent them to you. And in that case, you might ask, if you did not have an area to work on, what would it be, or what could it be? So you then move into possibility language, which we'll go into later on. And what's most important to you, whether it be a goal or something that they want to achieve, or if this is important to you, then what do you think is most important to you to work on in order to achieve that goal, or in order to let go of any fears or any blockages that might be preventing you from moving forward? Oh, and by the way, what we're really trying to do here is we want to find out what's really disturbing them. What's disturbing them, so that they're feeling maybe some pain in their life, anything that they want to work on the most. Whatever is presented to you as the most painful or disturbing thing for that client, it is best to work on whatever you feel and you know is best to work on from your own intuition, your own guidance. And that might be the very thing that is disturbing them the most. Because once you solve that which disturbs them the most, then you can move on to other areas if you like, and it will become easier and easier once you've solved that thing which they're feeling really terrible about or suffering from. Step number 3, we find out the root cause of the problem. Now, there are 3 things that prevent people from finding their own power, and we'll go into that in another video in more detail. But fear, guilt, or idolatry are the 3 things that stop people from finding their own power, because once they find their own power, they can solve that problem. Now, so if fear or guilt or idolatry is one of the 3 things that is stopping them from fully associating with that problem, then what it means is they're actually holding on to that fear, or holding on to that guilt, or holding on to that idolatry. And what I mean by idolatry, you could say like a fantasy. So some people, maybe they know that they should be doing something in their life, but they might pursue a fantasy instead, which they don't really want, but it looks really shiny. Like they might think, okay, well, I really want to go and do this now because this is really shiny. This is some sort of fantasy that I really want, but I know deep down I really want to be doing this instead. So idols, sometimes we can hold onto idols or fantasy in the fear of letting go of those idols and just finding our inner power, our inner love, and just doing what we know that we want to do, or just being who we know that we want to be. So fear, guilt, or idolatry can be the 3 things that hold us back. And there could be some beliefs around those ideas that are preventing them from fully associating with their power. Because if someone is, let's say they want to go and do something, but they fear doing that thing, so they might, they have this fear that could be present, or this fear attached to that idea, then what we can do through questions is we can find out what is the root cause of that fear. What is it that that person is fearing, and how can we help them to let go of that fear? So we do that through questions. We find out what are the beliefs that are attached to that fear. What are the beliefs that are attached to that guilt? Or what are the beliefs that are attached to that idolatry? Once we undo those beliefs, then that person can find their power instead. So one of the ways we do that is we can ask a question. Someone comes to you with a problem saying, I have this rejection that I keep experiencing at work or in my relationship, and it's a real problem for me. So you can ask the question, well, how is that a problem for you now? And by asking how is that a problem, then you can delve deeper into some of the concerns that they have. Another question you can ask is, what